Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today's video is going to be about breakdowns, since you voted for the breakdowns in my poll. By the way, if you're not following my Instagram, do that so you don't miss the polls where you can vote for future videos and other cool content, any news, stuff like that. So yeah, let's start with the first track. I'll be showing you how I usually make my breakdowns so you could use that knowledge and maybe come up with something new which works for your tracks.
In the universe doesn't exist the negative or the positive. So in this body appear this sensation overall when we are covered up emotion.
One thing I usually do before the breakdown, I add a filter on my kick and bass channel so we have a smooth transition in the energy, so we drop the bass and again there is some kind of tension. So yeah, and let's break down the effects section, which sounds like that. So you can see here I have some effects.
In the universe doesn't exist the negative.
Instead of this sound, which I'm using here, you could try using an impact. So for example, I'm going to take an impact from Kashmir's library.
In the universe doesn't exist.
The second thing I really like doing in my breakdowns is using drum loops. Those could be basically any loops you like. And I like using orchestral drums, which sound like that. So as you can see, I've applied a filter, so it's a kind of smooth transition.
In the universe doesn't exist the negative or the positive. So in this body appear this sensation overall when we are covered up emotion.
As you can see, I've also used this sound as a transition. You can use any sound, just make sure it sounds good. Basically, this sound helps to go to the second part of the breakdown where I start going up. So as you can see, I have some effects like this one. So those are very important. So the downlifters and uplifters, those are the things which are going to improve your breakdowns a lot. Also, don't forget to apply an uplifter before your drop. So for example, this one. It really helps to build that tension, which is very, very important. One more thing you could do for your breakdowns, you could use a drum break. So in this case, I'm using this one. So those small things are the things which are going to improve your breakdowns a lot. One more thing is snare buildup. So in this case, I'm not using the snare. It was, I think, a contact library, but still, together the drums sound like that. This also helps to build that tension. For the instruments, really interesting thing. I really like using strings in my breakdowns. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And if I remove the strings, it's not going to sound that good, actually. Yeah, it just sounds too empty. And now, with the strings on, and together with the violin, I have 3 layers of strings in total. And one more thing you could do before the drop is to start introducing your main synthesizer, whether it's an arp, or maybe a lead, maybe some chords. So as you can see, I'm not introducing it in the beginning of my breakdown, but in the second part, where I start to build that tension, I use the main lead of this track. Let's break down this track. I'm going to start from here.
Universe expression through this body, and I am not putting a lot of.
In this case, I'm using a very short breakdown. Once again, I'm using some drum loops. And now the instruments. I've recorded the flute myself. It sounds really cool in the context of the mix, I think. The vocal pad also sounds really cool. And I have one more pad / effects. Yeah, and this basically is, and this is all, guys. As you can see, it can be very, very simple sometimes, as well as complicated. So, as I said, really depends on the sound and the genre. The drop sounds like that.
Question in the expression of the universe.
Here is the next track, guys. I basically have 2 breakdowns. One is in the beginning, which sounds like that. Yeah, as you can see, I have uplifters and downlifters, so don't forget to use those in your breakdowns, guys. And the second break, I've just copy-pasted all of the effects, the drums, but I've added one more instrument. One more cool thing you could do just before the drop, you could use a filter on the master, and there is one plugin, I think I've talked about that. It's called Endless Smile, which is a great tool. I'm going to show you how it works. So I use it on the master channel. Really great and good plugin for your breakdowns and for the maybe transitions. Okay guys, I hope this makes sense, and now let's break down the very last track. So, as you can hear guys, I'm using some claps, which might sound good in some cases, and a snare. And for the effects, I have a downlifter. And also, one more cool thing you could do for your breakdowns is use some field recordings like this one. It sounds really, really cool. And here I have some small transitions, so like this one. Yeah, I really like how it sounds together. And before the drop, I have one more uplifter. And for the instruments, there are basically one lead layered together, which sounds like that.
To be in pranic way is to be in non-separation with everything.
Those kind of drums make your breakdowns sound huge and epic. So if you'd like to get that kind of sound, find some similar drum loops, and yeah, it's going to sound huge and epic.
With everything. And how you know to be in non-separation is
Okay, and now I'm going to show you the second breakdown, which is very similar, but with a bit different instruments. So I've recorded the flute.
of course the connection is separation, and we are
The impact I've talked about.
separation separation, and we are not separate of something. And for me,
the drum loop.
and we are not separate of something. We are not separate of something. And for me, the pranic state is today and not separation. Is something so beautiful, because when we can feel in not separation, you can see the eyes of everyone, and it's like you.
That's nice fill. I think I've took this fill from Kashmir sample pack. Yeah, so I think that was all I wanted to share with you guys today. I really hope you could find some useful tips for your arrangements, for your breakdown. I've tried to show you different tracks with a bit different instruments and a bit different approach. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.